Well, good afternoon everyone and welcome back. As you can see behind me, we are over in one of these maize paddocks. I've just come to have a little crop check on it, see how it's going. It is loving the weather at the moment. It's nice and hot and humid. I did make a little bit of a mistake. I was going to cut my silage yesterday and Mike as well, and then I put it off because I thought we might have got a little bit of rain or it might have got a little bit wet, and in hindsight now it probably would have been alright. But I made the call, so we're gonna have to try and do that next week. But I have come over here to show you because I'm having a little bit of a trouble this year with birds, and I had that trouble last year with the maize. There was pheasants, ducks, pigeons and pukekos that were probably getting in, and they nailed it big time. They did a lot of damage. So this year I opted to get treated seed or bird treated seed, and it has solved most of the problems. There's a paddock of maize just straight through there, and that got nailed last year by the pukekos and it hasn't been touched this year. So that is good to see. It's obviously worked for them. It's also kept the ducks and the pigeons away, but what has been nailing it has been the pheasants, and they have just been absolutely getting stuck in. They can do some serious damage. So there's a lot of plants missing in this area, and see, there's the seed there. Well, that one actually never got planted, but this would have been the seed from this plant, and the pheasant has dug down, got it, and what's actually treated is the seed shell. It's not the seed itself. So the shell's treated, and what they do is they get down and eat whatever is left in the seed, and they have just been absolutely going for gold. It's not too bad along here. I can't see too many new plants, which is good, but look at that. This is a prime example. Look, it's just all being taken out, and this isn't the worst patch either. See here, there's a lot of plants missing, which isn't good to see. You can see where they've dug down, and there's shells still there. But none of that is new, so those plants look pretty old and wilted, whereas an area like this has just been taken to. So you can see, like, both these rows here, they have been pretty much stripped all the way down there, probably at least I'd say 30-40 meters maybe. Same with here. Like, you can see the odd plant that's still there, but it is very scattered, and pheasants will do that. They'll just walk down the row and pull each plant out. Look at that row's gone too. So it is a little bit demoralizing seeing that. It's funny though, isn't it? Like they leave that row's alright, like they might have taken the odd plant, but they just really stuck to this one and gone for gold. I don't know why there's a couple of little plants still there, but in a whole it's pretty much all gone. Here's a plant that's been taken to. So see that looks pretty fresh, like there's not a lot of wilt on that plant. And you can see the shell, it's still there. But if we actually pull this plant out, we'll try to, we'll dig down. It started to root, which is, well, I might have to break the roots, but look at that. So they're getting good root length on them now, but they're still getting eaten, which sucks. Like some of these might have been eaten actually a while ago, and the roots are sort of just keeping them alive at the moment. Maybe that's what it is. So they might not be as fresh as I sort of first thought, but there's a lot of rows through here where they have just, gone for gold, which is very disappointing to see. They've really been only getting into this paddock here, which is definitely the worst, and then the one with the tree on top of it over there. So they're really only getting into these two, and this one is, like I said, by far the worst. And there's really only two options that you can do to try and stop the pheasants, I guess. And you can either try and scare them off, which is what I've done here. I have got an old calf bag. I had a waratah in the ground and just tied a bit of string, so hopefully the wind would sort of just flap and deter them. I've put one there, and then I also put one down there, but it's pretty weird. Like all these rows that they've decked are sort of in the middle of the paddock in here, and they haven't really touched like the outside rows. So they've walked all the way into the middle and then gone for gold. Maybe it's because it's like sheltered, or it's not that sheltered. You think they'd be sort of down there in the hollow, but they must be nesting around here, or I don't know, something. It's yeah, it's definitely a little bit annoying. And you can see those white patches that are sort of over there. I went and dumped a heap of corn because I thought, well, I might as well try and feed them. If they will eat this instead of my plants, surely that's got to be a better option, but it doesn't actually look like anything has touched that. I put 3 of them around, 1, 2, 3, and at 4 there's one on top of the hill over there. But none of them sort of look like they've been touched. Look at that, these plants have been eaten now too. So see how the tops have been nibbled off them? That is rabbits or hares that have probably done that. A few more plants there that have been nibbled as well. That won't kill those plants. The good thing about I guess the hares is that they really just take the tops, and those plants will probably never be as good as one that hasn't been touched, but at least those plants will survive. At least they'll bulk up a little bit. But the only really option is for these plants to survive the pheasants is to sort of outgrow them. Once they get big enough that they don't need that seed anymore, because they're sort of relying on it to get nutrients at the moment, once they grow big enough, and they should, or you think they'd sort of be at that stage about now. Maybe that's why they haven't sort of been touched, or maybe my plastic bags have been working, I'm not too sure. But they should be getting to a stage where, yeah, they're big enough, the pheasants won't bother them because these plants don't need that seed. And I'm really hoping they're getting to that stage. I have been out here in the mornings and at night, and I just haven't even seen them. You could say, why don't you shoot them? Well, you're actually not allowed to shoot them. It's illegal, and I haven't seen any that you'd be able to shoot anyway. So yeah, it's a little bit of a tricky situation, and I have heard of others around that have got a little bit of pheasant damage, but I don't know. Darcy's maize across the road there, straight across from our house, I've seen a lot of pheasants like down over there, and they haven't touched his, so it's a little bit annoying. I don't know why they're targeting this paddock in particular, but I guess they're hungry and they're going for it. What I'm going to do though is actually try and replant these strips. So you can see well, this one's fairly long enough. What I'm going to do is get the single row planter. They're going to give me some seed, and I'm just going to go along and try and replant it. These odd plants that are here, they'll probably get ripped out when I do it, but it'll be better to try and get a whole line than just the odd individual plant. I should get more from it. Like that one will be easy. Same as here, I could probably, oh look at this, start all the way back there. There's a few plants there, so I could start there and then go quite a way along there. It's just really annoying because there's nothing you can do about it, and that's the thing that really bugs me, but it is what it is. The maize in here has also had a little bit of slug damage too. See that? See how the leaves have been eaten? So that's actually slug damage. That's not from the rabbits, I don't think. Oh, I see there, like there's a hole in the leaf, and this paddock was the worst that got affected by the slugs. I actually put some more slug bait out on here. See how it's a little bit see there, see that slug's there, which makes the plants just, we'll put some back just a little bit. Over here, here's another one. That's a good example. So it'll still grow, it might just be a little bit behind. This is actually a better example, but these have been nailed by slugs, like those 2 plants and that one, and that's just because there's pretty much just a lot of trash here. Like if we dug down, I bet we'd even find some probably. Oh, see there's one there. Pull it out. See, there's a slug. Squash it. I like the direct drilling of the maize, but I'm definitely refining it and learning sort of what to do. This is only this is the first year we've direct drilled everything. So what I'm actually going to do next year is I am going to, instead of putting Roundup in the pre-emerge, I'm going to spray the paddock like 10 days before planting, so he sort of browns off when we're going in with the seed. I'm also going to make it or cut it for silage, so we sort of deck it, get all the cover off. Hopefully that sort of sorts some of the slugs out as well. So this year we put the cows in here the morning of when they drilled it, and there was just probably too much cover. Like you can see there, the grass is dying, but it's just, yeah, I wish it was just a little bit ahead. And when they put the spray, or when they spray it with Roundup in the pre-emerge, they can't go to like the higher rates because then it affects the plant. So I think that's what I'm going to do different next year. I'm going to do it with all the paddocks, pre-spray it, cut it for silage, bale it, and then we'll come and plant like a week after they've baled it. and I think we should get like a better result. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. And if you're wondering why the pheasant's getting into it because it is direct drilled, no, I don't think that is well, the problem whatsoever. Like, I have heard of other people around that have had it bad and theirs isn't direct drilled, so just a little bit unlucky, I guess. I have bought another Waratah and sledgehammer over. I'm going to set one more calf meal scarecrow up, because over by this big oak tree here, there has been a pheasant that's been coming in and eating around here, so I'm trying to deter it for the next couple of days. I can't see much new stuff, which is good to see. So maybe they've gone off it. I really hope, but we'll stick it out anyway. Something like that, just enough to sort of put them off. I was sort of hoping it would fly around a little bit more, but that looks pretty good. You can see down there, it's pretty bare, and there were a couple of rows there. Same with over here, looks, they've sort of decked that whole one around there, that whole row's gone. But you sort of do get that around the trees a little bit, but it's not too bad other than that. Like, looking down the rows, it's all right. I've got another scarecrow down there, there's one over there, and then I put a bit of a closed one. So I put 2 stakes in, tied a bit of string across, and then put the bag, so they flap around quite good. But these plants over here are probably, I reckon, a little bit bigger than that last paddock. Like, they're growing pretty good now, it's perfect conditions. It's nowhere as bad as that other one, but you can see, like, they have got in here, it looks a little bit light. That row's pretty much completely gone. So these I can probably replant as well. These there's probably enough there. See, there's a couple of down plants, and they look pretty fresh. Like, there's pretty much no wilt on them, but I think that's just because, like I was saying before, the root's still in the ground, it's still living. Might even put these ones back and they might grow still. See that slug, that's probably just while it's been lying on the ground. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Just not as bad as the others. One thing that probably doesn't help my cause though is that there's a lot of cover around at the moment. Like, there's a lot of grass and a lot of places for them to hide, so it is hard to see them. Like, there's a silage paddock right here, which is right next door, and there's even a little bit of like a little swampy bit down there. So there might be a couple that are nesting there, or like they could just be sitting 5 meters from the fence. You'd never know. They say they can pull out about 100 to 120 plants a night, and if you've got 5 or 6 of them that are coming in, you know, 500 is a lot of plants over at like the total area. I guess it's not a heck of a lot, but yeah, I don't know, it's just demoralizing to see your crops going worse than they should. It's expensive to grow, and it's all sort of coming off the end total, or the yield at the end. So you want to try and get the most you can, and this all affects it. While I'm passing by, I thought I'd bring you into the chicory crop. So you can see it's got that green tinge to it at the moment, and all the chicory's starting to come through. That's it there. It's actually not too weedy, which is good to see as well. We did have to spray it last year for weeds. Might get away with it this year, not sure. The land of milk and honey. I thought I'd bring you to this paddock down the road, because this should be looking pretty good. I don't think there's been pheasants in here, but from what I understand is that the pokes, or the reason the bird treatment doesn't work on the pheasants, is because they're smart enough they can get into the seed. Like you've seen before, they didn't eat the shell, they got into it, whereas pukekos, ducks, they tend to swallow the whole seed, and that's why that treatment works on them. It's looking a bit grassy though. Obviously that didn't get sprayed out. Strip through there, and there's a little bit over there too. It should grow through this. Like, these plants are pretty big, so it shouldn't worry them too much now. But it does look a lot better even just from here. Like, there's a lot less trash in the rows, and these plants are looking real healthy, nice and big. They have had the odd little bit of slug damage, and you do get that from direct drilling, but in a whole, I think it looks pretty good. This paddock's looking really good. There we go, there's probably a little bit of slug damage. and that, yeah, that might be the same. That's probably hares or something of the sort. And then you get little plants like this, and I think that it might be black beetle on the roots attacking that, or maybe it isn't germinated properly, I'm not too sure. But that plant's nice and healthy and strong. I have shot 4 or 5 hares over the last couple of days, which has probably put a little bit of a dent into their population. But this should give me a pretty good crop in here, I hope. We didn't actually put base fert down this year, so normally before the maize gets planted, we'll apply a base fertilizer. But the soil test showed that all the levels were all right, except for the available nitrogen releasing levels, or whatever they count them in, was a little bit low. So what we're going to do, and what we haven't done before, is we're going to actually side dress this maize with sustain. And ideally, we're going to side dress it twice, probably with tractor and fertilizer spreader. I guess you could get the chopper in and put it on that way, but I think putting it on with a tractor would be fine. Like, you do lose a little bit, but in terms of growing more, it's better to get that nitrogen on. But we're going to put it on in 2 doses. So my balance rep, he said you can do it in 1, but if you do get like heavy rain and it washes off, then you're just throwing money down the drain. Or you can do it 2 times, so we'll put it on twice, 1 in week 7 and 1 in week 9, because around that week 8 it's really important that the plants get their nitrogen. So this has been in the ground for 3 weeks now, 3 weeks plus 2 days, I think. So in another month we'll be putting or side dressing that nitrogen on, and yeah, that should really give it a boost. We want to get a good crop this year, so somewhere around 22-23 tonne plus would be nice. The average crop for the Waikato maize yield wise is only 19 tonnes a hectare, so I'd quite like to do a few more than that. Yeah, if I get to that 22, 23, I'd be pretty happy. Like, everyone wants 25, but it really depends on the weather as well. But one of the positives about walking around today was that I didn't see too much new damage, which is good and reassuring. That hopefully those plants are at the stage now where they don't rely on that seed too much. Hopefully they're at the point where they can survive off it, and the pheasants are keeping off. But you can see the damage that they do. It is pretty unreal. It's just, it plays on your mind when they're doing it, and they're just walking down a row nailing sort of, pretty much every plant, because they can do some damage. Although when you add up like the total area and the damage they have done, it's probably not a heck of a lot. But you want to grow the best crop you can, and when things don't go your way, it sucks. But hopefully someone will drop one of those single row planters off tomorrow. I'll go push it around. I did try it last year with all the damage I had, and I don't think any of the stuff I put in the ground grew. So it is a little bit hit and miss. And the seed that they're going to give me is a shorter maturity stuff too. So it's really just there to bulk up the patches that are missed. And I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Should work, hopefully. But that'll pretty much wrap it up for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up, that'd be awesome. And see you next time.